All right, it is currently 3:24 p.m. It's Friday, April 19, 2024. And if you'll pay attention to the still images that I captured of this impossible light activity, this is witnessing the demonic. The legal analysis, meaning looking at facts and evidence, you are literally capable of not only prosecuting a corrupt government that is employing demonic methods. That is, by the way, employing demonic methods is that which is intended to terrorize, to, as the law ordinarily describes, stalking and federal stalking under language which is not commensurate to the threat. It's in no way measuring what a government is doing, placing you under surveillance and stalking you. Nonetheless, it is analogous to this notion of creating emotional distress, that which is intended to place somebody under surveillance, to terrorize, to threaten, create harm, to fear for your life, etc. That is what is underway when you are witnessing, documenting what is this pattern with what is impossible light. And it is also how you are at the same time capable of seeing the invisible. And that is with regard to the condition of those that are in this environment, engaging in the pattern of conduct. For example, the Los Angeles Police Department, who are engaging in what is maintaining presence and following wherever it is that I go in helicopter. And that is because I'm remaining at Alvarado Gardens. They're stalking and engaging in surveillance in helicopter where I remain at work and at home. And you are in this way capable of knowing that those are not just criminals that are engaged and will be prosecuted with evidence, facts and evidence in a court, but also that they're demons. And that's what they really, let me be clear with you, the demon possessed would rather you prosecute them on the face of their crimes rather than their secret. This is what is entirely undesirable, that their condition, okay? But you are capable of knowing both. This is impossible light activity, not only based on analyzing here. This is a covered structure. The sun, which is above us, is not going to create this angular trajectory underneath the structure into the depths. And you also know the character of this light. It's not even this trajectory, but it's also the concentrated method. Remember, after 6 p.m., the entity is engaging in light, placing light on this wall, which is, again, capturing the demonic. Not only based on the analysis, the light source is an entirely different place. How is it remaining for not only 11 hours from the sunrise, that's still here visible through the same apartment window, but also when it's at Starbucks as a matter of documentation at 706 West Holt Boulevard, just as one example. And then you have it appearing on this wall where you're looking at the light source. I mean, it's impossible in all manners. The entity is engaging in what is this arcade-like light activity, which is not characteristic of natural sunlight either. In every way, it's impossible. It's serving for what is criminal presence by those that surround it. These are demons that are maintaining presence. They're literally driving in that impossible light activity. They're living, their buildings, their apartments, their homes, their vehicles are covered in this impossible light activity. And this is knowing what is the condition of a population that is surrounding, and also the entity with whom it is acting, engaging in criminal surveillance, and that's the Los Angeles Police Department. And now every time you're witnessing a criminal act, that demonic act of crossing at the same time, it's very demonic. It's demonic when you see one cross path. They're engaging in the demonic activity. It's criminal monitoring, though. It's state surveillance. But when you're looking at this, and that's two, going up in the opposite direction, that's what you saw Carlo Lopez doing with the third party, driving out of the parking lot while the light source was over me at 1:14 p.m. Those are demons. Remember the character, the light that they're in, the light source that's over me. This is demonic activity. This is what the demons want to do. And they do it in this engineered light, this movement all around in this weird, freaky light. That's the point of what they're doing, and it's a crime because it's accomplishing criminal monitoring not only on the communication devices, but also with regard to their criminal monitoring and group stalking. It's literally the act of stalking. They maintain presence all around you, which is stalking you. Just because you're engaging what is cooperative stalking, meaning you're shaking hands with somebody else who's also acting to maintain presence all around that person so that you can hide the fact that you're stalking someone altogether, that's stalking. And that's the government doing it. And you know that they're stalking because they're in this unnatural environment. So I want to be clear. I started this video at 3:28 p.m. And the reason why you're looking at this light activity is because, number one, this is impossible light. And 3:24 p.m., the light source is remaining over me at third-party facilitating venue where they are monitoring American citizens, where they are engaging in what you see here on an ongoing basis, the people of the state that live at a crime scene, that are engaging in a sex act, they're engaging in terrorism, they're engaging in what is psychological torture, they're engaging in highly depraved, highly demented, again, very highly disturbing criminal activity of a demonic nature, and they are doing so corporately on a 24-hour basis. I'm referencing all 59 units that are filled with third-party group stalkers who engage in this criminal system, as you saw with minor children. And as you also saw in real time, while the demon-possessed are jointly listening to me, they engage in more of that which I speak. And that's why you saw yesterday very creepy demonic activity. You saw more and more children arrive in that video as I captured it after 5 p.m. And that's because the demons are literally listening to me, and they engage in more of that which they listen to me recite about. It's literally the criminal act occurring. It's occurring. Those are very serious federal offenses that children were engaging in. And through the criminal facilitation of the people of the state, that's going to be a prosecution. I want you to understand the demonic nature of what you're witnessing. And it's entirely disturbing because it's occurring with real-time knowledge of what Satan is listening to me say. Remember, Satan is a spirit. Satan is acting over people. And so you have what is Satan acting over a group of people. And that's why you have all at once a group of children arriving, all of them on the property, engaging what is crossing path, while I was critiquing the criminal conduct and the highly creepy and disturbing and abusive behavior of Ryan and Clarissa Abundis, engaging in what is demented and sexually violent and psychologically torturing criminal activity on behalf of a government while they're crossing path with minor children in the specific environment, living at that crime scene with those children, and also knowledgeable of the fact that it's being documented. They have in no way sought to remove themselves or cease to include their children, if at all possible, okay, from living at the crime scene. But there is no removal or legal excuse from living at the crime scene. This is the nature of what is that obsessive endeavor to psychologically torture someone and provide no way of escape for the target individual. And so that federal prosecution is necessarily cognizant of that at every turn of the way. There was never any plan for the target individual to escape. All right. And so that federal prosecution also, in turn, is inescapable. All right. So at 3:24 p.m., I am at 507 North Euclid Avenue, and you are going to see the light source over me at Starbucks, a third-party facilitating venue, engaging in the same exact system. There is no respecter of persons. There is no difference with regard to what is the absolute impossible ability that the sun would be over that Starbucks, by the way, as I was there at 8:24 in the morning, and I captured it on video, and I remained there at, it was before 8:24. It's within the 8 o'clock hour, and I'm still there at 3:24 p.m., and the light source is hovering over that Starbucks, and it is replete with what are demons that fill Starbucks, including those that are creating your coffees, your mocha lattes, your frappuccinos, your hot teas and whipped cream. They're demons. And that's why you see that demonic light activity inside of Starbucks, which is what I documented in August of 2021 during daylight savings time. It is the exact same time now in April of 2024. During daylight saving time at 3:24 p.m. So this is also why this light activity that you see on the wall is absolutely impossible, because I'm capturing the light source just like you see it right here, right now. I'm at what is 507 North Euclid Avenue, the entity suggesting that that's the natural environment, because that's what I'm looking at, and that's what remained over Starbucks. And yet you're looking at it while it's hovering over my apartment outside of my bedroom window when I'm at 1806 North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, California. The two are not happening at the same time. This is the light source that FedEx is coming and delivering a package in relevant position to in plain view, as though anyone is ignorant about what they are doing and the malice with which they do it. This is the light source that UPS is coming and delivering a package to a third-party group stalker. This is the entity delivering a package to the entity, which is nothing other than criminal presence, light activity, relevant positioning, and an impermissible threat by a demon-possessed entity that's monitoring documentation. That's what you're witnessing. All right. And this is, of course, the same light source that Amazon Prime is coming and delivering packages under, while it is remaining, by the way, hours from now, still in alignment to the same window, but not when I go back down to my office. Remember, it's not going to be over the bedroom window. I'm not going to be able to turn from my office in this direction in order to capture it over building 18 in alignment to my bedroom window. It's going to move as I move back down that way toward building 1810 to be over in alignment to my office door. And that's how you have what is not possibly the natural environment. And this is surrounding the people of the state that are affiliated and going by the name of Starbucks, where the state's criminal pattern of conduct of federal group stalking and monitoring, facilitation of federal group stalking and monitoring, and impermissible threat, terrorism by an entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, the contribution to the delinquency of minors that are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring, harassment by an entity, and criminal summoning by that entity engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. All of this documented at that third-party facilitating venue, and not just at the one at 507 North Euclid Avenue, where the light source is hovering over that venue from 8 o'clock until after 3 p.m., which is in excess, let's count, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. That's 7 hours with the sun being stationary over an address, over Starbucks. It's really pivotal with regard to recognizing that address. This is the American people that are engaged, the people of the state specifically, that are engaging in what is state surveillance that is really happening in the United States. And it is understood, it's recognized through what is the clear presence of an environment that is on its face upon upon zero examination, mistaken for the natural environment. And it's not, it's a demonic imitation of the environment, of the natural environment. And it is serving for what is surrounding you, which are a demon-possessed population. And they're keeping people under surveillance in concert with the corrupt government. It is a matter of public corruption. And there is under no time of year, at no time ever, is there any sunlight that's going to be covering the streets where the people of the state are group stalking on Alvarado Street, over the property of Alvarado Gardens, where the people of the state are living at a crime scene, where the state is engaging in criminal surveillance, threatening the life and the safety and the overall well-being and the liberty of the targeted individual as a matter of documentation, with the unlawful purpose to take the life of that American citizen. Because I want to be clear, that is exactly what a government intends to do when they are placing you under surveillance in this manner, under this system. The government's not just going to stop, okay, we're done now. All right, that was just for funsies. All right, you go back to that's not how that works. Okay, this is an intent to take the life of an American citizen, to permanently deprive that American citizen of their liberty rights, their right to be free. All right, so I want to be clear. Understand the criminal system that the people of the state are living at a crime scene. That's why they're all going to federal prison. They are living under the evidence, which I'm capturing at 3:24. It's now 3:35 p.m. Living at a crime scene, acting with the government that is conspiring to take the life of an American citizen while keeping them under surveillance. That's grounds of federal prison. All of the minor children that you see systematically engaging in what is federal group stalking and monitoring by virtue of their demon-possessed parents are going to be taken by CPS and removed from the custody of the people of the state. They are all going to be subject, being the people of the state are customarily, they shall be, as a matter of default upon federal prosecution, to be subject to what are mental examinations, as are the demon-possessed law enforcement agencies that are acting vicariously through the people of the state. Also, remaining present at the third-party facilitating venue, that is Alvarado Gardens, via helicopter, necessarily wearing diapers, because they're never taking a break and stalking me and trying to threaten me to their own demise while I'm documenting and prosecuting them just by virtue of my documentation alone. It is currently 3:36 p.m. This is the maintenance of, that's a demon, that's Gustavo. He's going to federal prison. Let me also let you know, this is the demons going in a frenzy, because then you hear helicopter activity. This is what Starbucks was engaging in, by the way, and that's exactly what the Ontario Police Department were engaging in, and this is evidence going against Starbucks. All right? And that's why all 59 units, they are unapologetic, and they're going to federal prison. I want you to see the light source. The people of the state are entirely unapologetic, and I want you to see the LAPD. Those are demons that are flying a helicopter while they're listening to the fact that they're being prosecuted. It is such a sad concession by an entity that has been defeated. It's been entirely defeated. I want you to see that, but you've seen tons and tons of videos. That is LAPD. You've seen tons and tons of videos of them flying next to the light source, which is nowhere near Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. They didn't just fly anywhere near Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. Don't be distracted, but I want to be clear. As you see that impunity illustrated, this is the impunity of the people of the state. This is how unapologetic that they are. This is what they intend to continue to engage in. And I want to be clear, contrary to what Starbucks is reflecting themselves as on the internet, on television, in the media, but to your face, with regard to what they actually represent, what they're about, how they benefit you, and how what good that they're doing to the community. Just like you saw, that was a communication. That was a statement by Starbucks, who represents the people of the state. That's the reality of how they feel, really, about you and your constitutional rights. All right, they will threaten you in plain view, and that's exactly what Starbucks engaged in on several occasions. It's a pattern by Starbucks, okay? At more than one venue, by the way, where it's fully documented the entity that they were acting with, and that's the same entity that engaged in kidnapping, and that's the entity that's flying over by helicopter, while a demon, Gustavo, is crossing path. He's going to federal prison, him and his mother, and his little sister that's under the age of majority is going to be prosecuted also as a group stalker. She's a demon, and she knows exactly what she's doing, and being under the age of majority is not going to shield her from that prosecution. I want to be clear. Do not miss what the entity was just stating. Understand what Starbucks is stating. Starbucks is a facilitating venue. The entity speaks as one. If you do not want to be associated, I'm speaking right now to the people of the state, because you are right now prosecuting. You're not avoiding it. But going forth, after you're prosecuted on the world stage, I suggest you find ways to disconnect yourself from a corrupt government that is speaking universally while you're engaged in the state system of federal group stalking and monitoring. You are collectively, cooperatively, and consistently, ceaselessly engaging in what is criminal surveillance. And that's exactly what was underway at 507 North Euclid Avenue. Because that's why you have the light source over my head, and that's why you have impossible light activity inside of that venue. That's why you have the entity engaging in what are multiple acts of harassment and criminal summoning while all of the pattern of conduct is underway. Criminal summoning is the pattern of conduct. While they're monitoring you, then they're summoning the entity that's stalking you in helicopter. Imagine that. And then they want to represent themselves on the venue of the internet, on the world stage, as something that's benefiting you and your everyday life. They're monitoring you. All right, they are hostile to you and your identity, you who do not serve Satan. But I want to be clear, Satan is going by the name of Starbucks. Satan is your enemy. And I am not just preaching. You're looking at the pattern of conduct that's subject to what is evidence that you're looking at with your own eyes. So this is the light source that's not outside of my bedroom window at 1806 North Euclid Avenue. Don't forget the evidence. And the impossible light activity. And this light source is nowhere at any time of day ever going to be over 507 North Euclid Avenue, which is not another third-party facilitating venue. That is Starbucks that's engaging in criminal surveillance of American citizens in California in the United States with yet another corrupt law enforcement agency. The Los Angeles Police Department, who are also of that same condition. Those are unrepentant, unapologetic, highly despicable demons who are wearing diapers because they're so obsessively stalking me. Okay? Flying over in helicopter because they can't stand to hear the truth that I speak. They can't stand it. All right? That is revealing, and that is informing federal policy. The demon-possessed population that are going by the name of Starbucks. This is a malicious means to engage in the state of California's criminal system of ceaseless state surveillance. They're a threat to your life. They're preparing your foods and your drinks. They're a threat to your life. They're keeping you under surveillance, and they're hostile to enforcing your rights. They are a threat to your life. And I'm going to sue them civilly and criminally. And while they are, let me be clear, while you're documenting, just like as I document Rita Vega and the entities threatening my life by, again, stalking and arriving, engaging in psychological terror, threatening with the sound of the helicopter. These are these demon-possessed law enforcement agencies that engage in kidnapping and criminal defamation on multiple occasions. This is what they're communicating while you're documenting the people of the state. Let me be clear, it's not different because Starbucks is at 507 North Euclid Avenue. Starbucks is the people of the state, and while I am documenting the people of the state by showing you what's the light source that's not possibly the sun, at the same time while I'm in LA and Starbucks is at 507 North Euclid Avenue, the entity is threatening my life. That is the people of the state. Starbucks is threatening my life. That's the pattern of conduct. That's exactly how you are prosecuting the criminal conspiracy of the entity acting together as one. It is the same application of law. The same one, and that's the pattern. And so that's exactly what the entity just did on camera. Okay, and that's the reality of how the people of the state that identify as Starbucks, it's not a coincidence that they're hiring third-party group stalkers. All right, it's not an ongoing coincidence. You're seeing all these big name companies. They have a lot of money. They yield a lot of power in this country. They're monitoring you. They don't care about your rights. And then when you enforce them, they're hostile to it. They want to threaten your life. They want to threaten you. All right, so I want to be clear. It is currently 3:41 p.m. That is P.O.C. This is the light source that remains here, remember? It's never going to be over Starbucks at 507 North Euclid Avenue. Starbucks is engaging in what is terrorism with corrupt governments. It's a matter of what is public corruption, which Starbucks is directly engaged in and facilitating on an ongoing basis and seeks to obstruct justice, and that's what the evidence shows. The entity is keeping the light source here after 6 p.m., which is ongoing evidence against the people of the state, including Starbucks, because that was never the natural environment. And as the entity continues to engage in stalking and surveillance 24/7 via LAPD. That's ongoing evidence with regard to what Starbucks is engaging in and engaged in facilitating, as was already documented. It's ongoing evidence against Starbucks, okay? That's the prosecution of an entity. That's how you prosecute, and that's why you don't want to engage in what is state surveillance with the government, because you're going to pay the price, civil and criminal prosecution. And everybody that engaged in kidnapping with the Ontario Police Department, everybody that engaged in criminal summoning, you even summoning them, you're going to federal prison. Just like I told you when I encountered you. This is P.O.C.